Hello. Hey guys, 2 minutes of nothing, and we are back. Gabe DeArmond. I am now connected through the hotspot on my phone. The internet here, for some reason, has been a mess. So we're going to start this all over. Welcome in to the Yuengling Live postgame show at Faurot Field after a 49-27 Missouri win over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Yuengling, available in 29 states. I hope yours is one of them. If not, I hope you are what they call a smuggler and you have brought it in from another state and are enjoying a Yuengling while you are hanging out here with us on this almost morning. 350 of you. What better way to end the home season than a 6:45 game that takes approximately 9 hours to play? We're going to talk about it. We're going to go through it, and we are now going to pop Cody Goodwin on the stage. So at least if I get kicked off the internet again, Cody can be here and hang out with you. Cody, your internet works. That's good. What's up, man?
My internet works, but my screen looks a little funny. Maybe it's just the lighting. Maybe if I move my chair in front of the lighting, I'll look a little better. Not that people are on this thing to watch me, but at least they can hear me, I guess.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you a little bit better now. You have a few fewer streaks over the front of your face. Guys, we're off to a hell of a start here on the show. This show going about as smoothly as the second and third quarters between Missouri and Mississippi State did. Two thoughts. First of all, hey, cool. They won a football game. That's a good thing. Second thing, what a mess of a football game that was.
Little messy. It was just kind of, it had a lot of sloppiness to it. And a lot of that, I think, was on Mizzou, but also on the fact that they were playing a Mississippi State team that I don't know if they necessarily muck it up a little bit, but like they played in some rock fights this season that they've come up on the short end of, right? Like they're now 1-6 in SEC play. This is their 6th loss in their last 7 games after a 4-0 start. I kind of thought that it might be I thought Mississippi State would bring a fight to this game, and for a while they did. And then the game, obviously, Mizzou was able to seize control and was able to kind of run away with it. But, I mean, hey, like if you love entertaining late-night football, like you got your money's worth for this one. There's a lot that we can get into from this game.
That kind of felt like it should have been Maction on Tuesday night, or like a Pac-12 after dark game, in memory of the Pac-12. Missouri and Mississippi State staged that one. I felt, and like a lot of good comments, false start on me. The officials pulled my feed. I don't want to start there. We will get to the mess of defensive flags on Missouri, but I felt like more than Mississippi State staying in that one, I felt like it was Missouri kind of keeping Mississippi State in it for a while, because Missouri seemed like the much better team, but couldn't quite run away because they gave up 6 first downs on defensive penalties, and then they had a turnover. They made just enough mistakes to keep Mississippi State involved.
Yeah, because Zellers threw the pick that led to Mississippi State scoring. Hardy put the ball in the dirt early in the 3rd quarter. That led to Mississippi State scoring. So, like, it had similar vibes to the Kansas game, where it's like after a minute, I didn't really think Missouri would lose the game, but I'm like, all right, like it's not done yet. So it's kind of interesting in that aspect. And then after a while, the defense made a couple plays. Pride and Burks obviously returned those picks for touchdowns. So that was like, okay, that's kind of the nail in the coffin. And then the 4th quarter, we were kind of on Hardy watch to see if he could get to 300, or, I mean, you were looking single game record. We were looking at potential SEC records. I think I saw on the graphic when I walked I'm in the Mizzou coach's booth. He's the 6th player in SEC history ever to hit 300 rushing yards in a single game. So that's pretty cool. We got to talk to him a little bit about that afterward. So we did not get to talk to all the players that we wanted to talk to, but we also got to talk to Matt Zellers afterward, which I thought was interesting. So we'll have a story up on all that he said, either later tonight or first thing tomorrow, or, before I fall asleep at some point. I don't know. We're still figuring that part out, but yeah. I think that the game itself, to circle back to how that started, I don't know that Mizzou was ever, I think, in danger of actually losing the game, but for a while there were it was intriguing, and it was like, okay, like when is Mizzou going to finally just grab this game by the neck and walk away with it? And it really wasn't until probably later in the 3rd quarter that they were able to be like, okay, like we can start writing now. We can start kind of figure out what we want to write.
Yeah, I felt, and you said tomorrow, it's 25 minutes from tomorrow right now, but I felt like when this game actually ended, it was courtesy of Jeff Lebby, for some odd reason, in a 35-24 game, going for it on 4th and 4 from his own 18-yard line with 13 minutes left. Like, I'm not saying Missouri wouldn't have won. Missouri would have won the game anyway, but that was just, I don't know. I didn't understand. That looked like a coach just going, screw it. Whatever. We got nothing left.
Well, at that point, it was 35-24. You're down 9. You need 2 points. And I guess I thought 11, that was kind of, 11 points. Math is hard. I thought that was interesting because Mizzou really hadn't done a lot offensively to that point, at least in the second half. And Shapen was moving the ball a little bit. Like, they were finding a little bit of success. And we'll get into, Mississippi State being able to move the ball and Missouri's maybe lackluster effort on defense. Even though they were still able to make some big plays. But yeah, that was a curious decision. And obviously, Shapen threw high. Burks, instead of just knocking it down and giving Mizzou possession in the red zone, snagged the ball, ran it back for a touchdown. And that was basically all she wrote, because that put them up at that point 42-24. And that was it. But yeah, I think up until that point, the intrigue was still there. And that was early in the 4th quarter. So at that point, we kind of thought, or at least maybe I thought, I don't know if I ever said this out loud, if State goes down the field and at least gets a field goal, then it's a 1-possession game. And all right, things are really interesting now.
Yeah, I do want to invite you guys. Billy's putting a lot of the comments on the screen, comments, questions, all that in the chat. Great. We've got a bunch of voicemails lined up. We will get to those. Appreciate we're nearing 500 people, so let's at least try to top that by midnight. And I've seen. Let's start with Ahmad Hardy. I mean, what do you say, man? It just, like, we came in. I came into this game saying, Mississippi State's not good on run defense. This should be a night you can hand the ball off 60 times and win. And it kind of became that. I liked Eli Drinkwitz said he wanted to get Matt Zellers going early, give him a couple of easy throws. He got those. But once that happened, it was very much, okay, let's feed the guy that is averaging 12 yards a carry. And it oddly, the hardest time for him to run was at the end of the game on Missouri's last drive when Mississippi State knew he was getting the ball. Everybody in the stadium knew he was getting the ball because the only thing at that point that Missouri was trying to do was get Hardy either to 300 or to 319, which is Devin West's school record.
Yeah, he had runs of 34, 22, 72, 43, and 19 yards. And I'm probably missing another one or two in there that were all that impressive. Like he was good. Like he was good. And we knew that he could probably feast a little bit. I kind of figured the combination of him and Roberts could have a pretty big game against this Mississippi State run defense. This is a Mississippi State run defense that struggled quite a bit coming into this game. The defense as a whole just not very good. I thought there was a lot of opportunity. I thought for this Missouri team to take advantage and find yards. I thought it was, there was one of the things I wanted to see was obviously the run game get going, but I also wanted to see Zellers play off that a little bit. And we saw a little bit from him. I mean, he finished 8 of 15, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, also had the pick. Maybe still not quite all of what I wanted to see from Zellers. I thought that this was a prime opportunity for him to maybe take a step forward, but when you got a running back who's got the hot hand like Hardy had tonight, you just got to keep feeding them. And I think the only reason maybe, they finished with 39 rushing attempts. That counts for the couple of sacks that Zellers had and then the couple of kneel downs at the end. So more realistically, what's that 35 total rushing attempts? I think the only reason they maybe didn't hit 45 or more is because Hardy was too busy scoring.
They kept
right?
scoring.
He scored too fast. And even a couple of the defensive players that we got to talk to afterwards, Burks and McClellan, were sometimes we would like for him to maybe go down or not take one to the house because sometimes we want to break, right? And we were making comments throughout the game that the time of possession battle belonged to Mississippi State tonight. Missouri had the ball for less than 24 minutes and put up 438 yards and 49 points. Now, 2 of those obviously came from the defense, but Hardy was scoring at will. There were a lot of times where he would kind of run into the mess and cut back, and it was just nothing but free grass in front of him. So, a lot of credit goes to him for that. A lot of credit goes to, I think, for Missouri for being able to execute against a defense that, let's say it, Mississippi State's defense stinks. This is a team that kind of lives and dies off big plays. They hit a few big plays offensively tonight, but defensively it was kind of a hang on and let's see if we can get them to 3rd and long. And Mizzou just didn't really allow for that a lot of times tonight. And I give them a lot of credit for taking advantage and beating a team that's more than beatable.
Yeah, and I see we had a couple of people asking what happened during the post-game interview. Look, guys, we don't see that. I don't know. We're walking from the press box to the press conference. While that, I have absolutely no idea what you're even talking about. Cody, I don't think you do either.
Post-game, I know that there was some chatter online, and again, we haven't seen it yet. I'll obviously catch it during a rewatch, and honestly, I might fast forward to it I'm sure clips are somewhere. So we might be able to go find that too. But I know that Drink made an allusion to something about NIL and, his name being brought up in the coaching carousel. And so maybe that was something that maybe there's a lot of people that were discussing. I don't know. I think maybe Hardy also got
it. Well, seemed like maybe there was a little skirmish or something on the field, but I don't know. We haven't seen it, so we can't say. But so here are kind of just by the numbers. Ahmad Hardy 300 tonight, the 2nd highest single game total in school history. That's behind Devin West from the 319 against Kansas in 1998. 7th 100-yard game of the year. School record is 9, set by Cody Schrader in 2023. So Hardy mathematically still can break that if he gets 100 in all 3 remaining games. Schrader single season rushing record 1623. Hardy needs to average 92.3 yards a game the rest of the way to break that. 5th on the all-time single season list right now. He leads the SEC by 210 yards over Kewan Lacey. He is 3 short of Brad Smith's single season touchdown record of 18. And my understanding is he is currently the leading rusher in Division I in FBS football by 34 yards after this week's games. So all good things. I would think Ahmad Hardy basically assured of first team all SEC honors at the end of this year.
Yeah, I would think at the very least, probably he's got to be considered for it. First team all SEC. I imagine there might be a list or two, an All-American list where maybe he's honorable mention. or maybe he's somewhere.
He's got a chance at second or third team, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, the one knock against him, and I'm not sure how much voters will actually pay attention to this, was just being able to pile up all these numbers against lesser teams and maybe not being as effective in some of the bigger games when Missouri probably needed him to. But that's, now we're picking nits a little bit here. I mean, he's going to have, he's on pace, I think. He's 2 more games. He's got, 1,400 rushing yards, or I guess almost 1,400.
1346 right now.
1346, yeah, because he had just broken 1,000 last game. So he's going to have the opportunity to eclipse 1,500, which is I don't know how that compares to All-Americans from years past, but he's going to be in line for a lot of postseason honors, well deserved, even if maybe against the tougher teams he struggled a little bit, but he was able to pile up the numbers tonight. And honestly, I kind of forgot what a night like tonight feels like, because I know he broke 100 yards against Texas A&M, but a lot of that was in the second half when the game was already well in hand. And it's been a while since that South Carolina game, for example, when he was able to he ran for 138 that night. That was late September. It had kind of been a while. I don't know how you felt about this, but it felt a while since we had seen a big Ahmad Hardy game like we saw tonight. I was reminded of how much fun it is to watch him go when he's able to get on a roll like that.
I mean, they haven't topped 24 points in a game in well over a month, Yeah. So it has been a minute since anything has really worked offensively. I thought the biggest difference tonight, and again, we understand it's Mississippi State, but look, guys, this team is they've been kind of wandering through a desert offensively. If you want to complain that it was against a bad team, fine, but I actually just enjoyed being able to see some yards and points tonight. I thought the line, not only obviously 300 rushing yards for Hardy, but Matt Zellers was not running for his life back there. They actually looked like a much more competent offensive line tonight.
Yeah, no, they looked really good. I mean, Zellers took a couple of sacks, and there were maybe a couple times where he had to leave the pocket because of pressure issues. But no, I mean, they really one of those things that I'm going to have to go back and rewatch, because I was making subtle comments throughout the game about how Zellers still a couple of small things he probably needs to do better. But in terms of protection, there wasn't really, I thought the offensive line played a pretty good game, not only in run blocking, but largely making sure that Zellers was upright. Him taking steps forward is something we can probably worry about for another day. But yeah, I mean, I thought the offense did pretty well overall, 438 total yards. They did all of that on a total of 55 plays, which was almost half as many as what Mississippi State ran. Part of that'll happen when you've got 2 pick sixes and a couple of really quick scoring drives, which they had tonight. So yeah, I mean, it was fun to watch the offense find a groove again. It was kind of fun to watch this game both, and we'll touch on the defense too, but just to see the team put together a win after what they had lost 3 of their last 4. They had lost 2 in a row. Guys, it's been 28 days since this team has won a game. And so to see them kind of flush that a little bit, even if it's only for a night, even if it's against an inferior team, it was fun to kind of see that spark again. It was fun to see Faurot Field get all wild and crazy again. And it was fun to see this team just kind of go do the thing.
And look, yeah, Mississippi State's not great, but I mean, they took Tennessee to the brink. They had Texas down by 17 in the fourth quarter. This team got blown out by Georgia and A&M and has pushed absolutely everybody else. This is not an awful football team. And hey, again, we've talked yes, it's not a top 10 win, but all you got to do is beat the average and bad teams, and you're going to win 8 or 9 football games. And on the Matt Zellers thing, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. I thought there was growth. It's hard not to have growth from 7 for 22 for 77 yards. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't perfect. A couple of intentional groundings that I think had they been called within 30 seconds of when they actually happened, everybody would agree they were the correct calls and all that. Had a bad throw on the interception, but he overcame it. He made some decent throws. I liked that. Hey, when Mississippi State jumped off sides, he knew I have a free play. I'm just going to give my guy a chance. He is clearly not there yet, but you can see what there is to like.
Yeah, and as much as I would have liked to have seen him get more reps and throw the ball more than 15 times and just, I'm not the play caller. There are smarter people. There are smarter football people than me. Obviously, in that Mizzou building, I have my thoughts on the type of offense that I would like to see him run. That's probably a discussion for Monday after I rewatch the game and we have a little bit more time to digest it. But yeah, you still even even against Texas A&M, there were a couple of small things that were like, okay, like I can see the potential here. And that was kind of the same thing tonight. There were some small things, like you had mentioned, the offsides early where he threw it up to Olubide to just give his guy a chance. He had some more good throws, like the throw to Manning I thought was good. Just the concept of it was good. And then Manning was able to turn around, shed 3 defenders and make a really good play out of that. So like there were subtle steps. There's smaller steps. I think a lot of us would have maybe preferred to see him take a few bigger steps. And when you look at the stat line, like 8 of 15, 2 touchdowns, 112 yards, like it doesn't look great. But again, we'll probably have a bigger conversation about Zellers on Monday. But there were some good things again in the immediate aftermath where it's like, okay, like he's trending, even if slowly, in the right direction, I think.
To me, the offseason's the time for improvement. This is about winning football games any way you can. And him, frankly, not being the reason you lose a football game. And he was not the reason you lost a football game today. I do want to touch on one other thing while we're talking about quarterbacks. Bo Pribula I actually got a text from our photographer on my way to the stadium that he was doing sprints, and then he was out there pregame, and it looked like maybe he'll play. He was ruled out. And then the last question of the press conference, it was just really interesting to me. Eli Drinkwitz always tends to like pick just one question that he's just not going to answer for some reason. And we don't ever really understand why, but he was asked about Bo, and Drinkwitz just said, hey, tonight's about this team. We'll talk about all that later. So I don't know. Maybe he plays next week against Oklahoma. He certainly looked like it's at least possible. I think he will at least be available next week, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
My thought is, so he was doubtful all week. And then I had a story written up where he was going to be a game time decision, and then we just weren't going to see him because we saw him warming up. We saw him, like, he was running on the sidelines. He was running along the sideline. He was throwing, like, and against air, it's like, hey, like maybe, right? Like there was nothing in the way of support or, there was nothing to signal that his ankle was hurt, right? Like he looked fine. He was running around, like he was putting all the pressure on it. He was doing everything. My guess is that he will be questionable all week. And it might be one of those things where it's like, okay, Zellers is going to prepare as if he's the guy, but if Bo can go, we have a call sheet ready for that, right? So, because that's a guy that's old enough, he's been around the block. It's, they can probably just kind of institute it and roll it. And then if for whatever reason, after the first series or two, he can't do it, then you put Zellers back in and away you go. But that would be my guess, that he'll be questionable all week and it'll be kind of a touch and go situation.
Yeah, it was just kind of interesting, the way Drink handled that after the game. I don't know. Billy, let's go ahead and hit the I know we got a couple super chats. Let's get to those, and then we'll start to I know Cody likes to hear some of the voicemails before he goes and works. Maxwell Havens asking where Ryan Wimhoff is. He generally likes to complain in the postgame show, but hey, if your super chat is calling out another super chatter, we welcome that too. Whatever the reason is, we'll put it on the stream. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. By the way, Maxwell thinks this team is going to New Year's Day Bowl. A good time if you got to keep one forever, lose one forever, and promote one to coordinator. Peeler, Looper, and Early. What's the order? I don't know. I generally think, I think Jacob Peeler's probably set to be a coordinator here at some point. I don't know. Looper and Early both do a pretty good job, but I generally think position coaches have, the guy who is Ahmad Hardy's running backs coach is probably going to be a pretty good running backs coach, right? And that's not saying that Curtis Looper is not doing a good job or anything, but I don't know how to judge a running back coach versus a defensive end coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Looper's got play calling, or at least a history of play calling. He was the co-OC at TCU before he came to Mizzou and joined Drink's squad. So does that matter? I don't know. Like, he's clearly got a pretty good track record of finding and bringing in running backs and developing them and then helping them obviously achieve new heights while at Missouri, right? Like there's, Cody Schrader's obviously a great story. What he's been able to do with Ahmad Hardy this year has been amazing. Tyler Beatty, like the two guys last year, Noel,
Marcus Carroll.
Yeah. Marcus Carroll, Jamal Roberts, I think, has been a fantastic story when it comes to development and a guy that has stuck with the program, and he has been with Looper the entire way. So I don't know. Like I would lean on Looper a little bit, but I also know that Peeler has done a really good job when it comes to recruiting high-level receivers and also just being a high-level recruiter in general. So in terms of play calling role, like is he ready for that next step? I just quickly kind of Googled Looper just to make sure that I knew that he had some play calling history. I'm not sure if Peeler has the same thing or not. I don't know. Keep one forever, lose one forever.
Yeah, Peeler was an OC at Texas State, so he's done.
Okay, so he's also got play calling, chops, I suppose.
I mean, this is all what Missouri has an offensive coordinator, so yeah. We'll see. I think there are bigger questions on the coaching staff before next year than is Kirby Moore going to be the offensive coordinator here. So,
what could possibly be bigger than that, Gabe?
I don't want to spend the entire post-game show talking about that because we're going to spend a lot of weeks talking about it. So, all right, let's again, if you do have a super chat, feel free. If you got a question you want to make sure it gets on the show, feel free. But I know, Billy, I'm pretty sure we've got some voicemails loaded. So let's hear what the callers are saying tonight. It's never boring.
M-I-Z. M-I-Z.
That I don't know that was necessarily worth the time it took to do, but we're starting off slow. I promise it's going to get worse.
Hey, Gabe. These refs were about as gay as Jacob Cruz's fucking haircut. But other than that,
we're good. We're not going for the homophobia, but okay, let's talk about the refs though. Look, I didn't think Josiah Trotter should have been ejected from the game because I don't know what he's supposed to do in that situation. Other than that, even Eli Drinkwitz didn't seem to think they were bad calls. Like he said, senior night's emotional and we did some out of character stuff.
Yeah, that was, because I asked him that question just about, hey, the good and the bad, right? Because he had mentioned Pride and Burks in his opening. And so I was just like, what do you make of this? Like there were, what Missouri had, I was just looking it up. 11 total penalties called. 8 of them were on the defense. There was a stretch in that second quarter where 3 penalties ultimately led to State having 8 plays inside Missouri's 10-yard line. Like that's
all
not great.
Which were quarterback runs into the middle of the line.
Pretty much. I'm kind of stunned how often you guys don't watch the veer and shoot. That's State's offense, man. That is Jeff Lebby is an Art Briles disciple. That's what that was, just with lesser players. And so, but yeah, better teams are going to take advantage of that. State, obviously not a very good team. They're 5-6 now. That's, also Missouri's defense when they decided to bow up were very good tonight. So give them credit for that. But yeah, just a lot of uncharacteristic penalties. The targeting on Nate Johnson. We were all kind of oh, are you sure? There was a little bit of a
I thought that one was a good call.
On the replay, yeah, because he led with the crown of his helmet. He hit Chapin and kind of underneath the helmet. That's going to get called every time. Trotter was just in an unfortunate position. Stephen Hall's face mask call that led to a fresh 1st and goal. That was away from the play when Missouri made the stop.
Oh yeah, that one was weird.
Silly, stupid. There were a couple of intentional grounding calls on Zellers, which the first one, I think I understood. The second one, I also understood, but I was too busy raving over the fact that he threw it off his back foot from one hash to the opposite sideline. I'm just dude, the arm strength, that is incredible. And so that's, just little silly stuff, but also Mississippi State got called for, I think 7 total penalties, and that poor offensive lineman, Javen Q. James, 3 separate false starts one of them backed Mississippi State out of field goal range. There was another one that made life harder on them. It was just one of those games. It was a little choppy. It was a little sloppy. And I think if you actually went over all of the plays, all the penalties that were called, I'm not sure how much we would actually argue too many of them.
So there were 2. I would argue the Trotter thing. By the rule book, maybe they called that right, but it has to change. There's nothing Josiah Trotter can do there, other than just because Chapin slid late, and so I guess he's supposed to just not try to tackle him. And the other one that was awful was it was 4th quarter, it didn't matter, but they called a pass interference on Missouri that the ball wasn't within 8 yards of anybody, and then didn't call one because the receiver changed his route or something. I don't know. It was all stupid.
That was the goofy one where I forget when it was, 3rd quarter, something like that. I remember tweeting the verbiage because I have never heard a ref say that wasn't intentional grounding because the receiver broke off his route. Like
while the ball was in the air. Yeah.
Excuse me? Like what? Like that's, every penalty now is not going to be a penalty because the receiver broke off his route. Like I had never heard that before. Maybe somebody else has, but that's, I don't know.
Look, I'm just happy that we can talk about officiating and not talk about it like changing the game. Like, yes, there were some weird calls and some dumb calls, and I don't think this officiating crew was the best. But, like, I'm glad we don't have to be breaking it down in a 4-point game where we're talking about whether it changed the outcome of the game or not. It didn't. Missouri won by 22. Maybe it would have won by 32 without some of the calls. Let's go back. I know we got a couple more super chats during that, and I know one of them was about targeting. Like, I don't know how – Cody, they've had targeting in college football for like 6 years now. And I still don't know what targeting is. I'm still very rarely sure if they're going to call it or not.
The late slide one is interesting. Like, I agree with you. I'm not exactly sure what Trotter was supposed to do. And actually, if you go back and rewatch the play, because I thought this was super interesting, both him and Darius Smith were like converging on Shapen as he slid. And Smith kind of like he tapped Shapen's helmet. Yeah, and it kind of pushed Shapen's helmet into the contact that Trotter ultimately got called for. And so, like, that's like, did Smith inadvertently cause Trotter to miss the rest of that game? Like, that's an interesting point of conversation on that play. But then, I don't know. Like, the Nate Johnson one I thought was pretty clearly targeting. I don't really know what targeting is, I guess, even after, viewing the Nate Johnson play. Like, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know how to address it because I prefer to keep our players safe. But also there's just kind of a level of bangness to football sometimes where it's just like, what are these guys supposed to do? They're moving so fast. They're so big and strong. Like there's only so much you can do in real time, right?
And their whole thing is you can't legislate intent, but you ought to be able to legislate intent, in my opinion. But the one good thing for Missouri about these is they both happened in the first half, and they're both back next week against OU. Like, they missed the rest of this game. They do not miss next week. They're back, and Missouri will be at full strength. The other super chat from Scott Fitz, State just ran another quarterback draw. I didn't see many quarterback draws. They were just quarterback counters, and just that's what they did all night long. Like, at the end of the first half, their running backs had 3 carries, I think. So that was something.
That's the veer and shoot, man. Like, it's how many people have seen Remember the Titans? They run the veer. That's what that is.
But you need the quarterback that can run it.
Shapen's been fine this year. Not good, not bad, just fine. Just fine.
I think he's a decent quarterback, but he's not really the runner. If you're going to run the quarterback 800 times, put Camario Taylor in there.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, when Bryles really had the veer and shoot running, that was when he had RG3 and Baylor.
Right, like RG3 is different. I can watch him run 40 times in a game. That's fine.
Maybe Camario Taylor could be that because, have you seen the measurements on that dude? He's like 6.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
6'4", 230. Like, I saw that and I was like, yo. But then also I watched him throw a couple passes tonight and I was like, aha, that's why.
Yeah, final numbers. Blake Shapen had 17 carries for 16 yards and Camario Taylor had 10 for 22. So a combined 27 carries for 38 yards out of the Mississippi State quarterbacks. The running backs combined for 25 carries for 72 yards. So neither one of them, honestly, was very good. Let's hop back to the voicemail line. We got a voicemail? Hello? Okay. I don't know. While we wait for voicemails, Billy, if you can hear me, just play them whenever you get to them. Let's hit Devontae Eston. Does Hardy have a shot to win the Doak Walker? I brought that up, and Cody immediately cut me off and asked if I had forgotten about Jeremiah Love. So, yeah.
Jeremiah Love is very, very good, guys. I imagine Hardy will be a finalist for that award. He ain't going to win it. It's Jeremiah Love's award to lose.
Yeah, but, no shame in being a Doak Walker finalist and probably a all-SEC player and maybe second team All-American. That seems like a good season to me.
Yeah, if that's what Hardy's final line is, that is a heck of a year. So
yeah, and then you hope he's back next year, like every other good player in college football. All right, Billy, let's go back and hit some voicemails. All right. I'm going to hit some voicemails.
Man, drink squad next year at Penn State's going to be nasty once all our guys transfer there. It's unfortunate, but I don't see any way Drink's going to stay here. Man, drink squad
Yeah.
next year at Penn State's going to be nasty.
Look, guys, we are going to talk plenty about that over the next while. I don't particularly want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it tonight, but it's out there. We know. We'll get to it. We'll be ready if it happens.
Crazy when you have the best back in the country with the most stats in the country, and everybody recognizes, but the coaches, he's underutilized.
Guys, there was a moment in today's game where Missouri had run 20 plays, and Ahmad Hardy had 10 of them. In the first half, they had 20 plays for 194 yards, and Hardy had 10 of them. What do you mean he's underutilized?
So I understand that is not a claim about tonight specifically. Ahmad Hardy coming into tonight had 172 carries. Among running backs, that was 8th in the country. He got 25 of them tonight. I don't know where he is, but he is not below 8th in the country. Missouri also, by the way, has another very good running back. Again, this is not a blanket defense of the play calling. There have been some issues over a course of time, but like in the Vandy game and the Texas A&M game, and the Vandy game, the first half of the A&M game, and the Alabama game, like we discussed why there are reasons beyond Kirby Moore is an idiot. Right? Like they never had the ball in the Alabama game. They never had the ball in the first half against A&M. Like Ahmad Hardy had 3 carries on their first 2 drives. They only had 5 drives. And then Jamal Roberts was on the field for the last 3 and he ran the ball 10 times for 60 yards. So he was doing fine. Ahmad Hardy still ended up with 100 yards. Like I get it. This is just the argument everybody's going to make and it doesn't matter. Nobody wants an explanation. It's just going to be Ahmad Hardy doesn't touch the ball enough. That's why.
Which there are certain aspects where I can agree with that, but then it's also like, I don't know, like you try to, why isn't he getting more carries? Well, against Texas A&M, they had to come back by trying to throw the ball, and he has not been very good in pass protection. So you have to put the running back on the field that's pretty good at that, and it just so happens that Jamal Roberts, on occasion, can run the ball pretty damn well too. So maybe that's why Hardy's not on the field all the time. So, you know, I don't know. Like it's a nuanced conversation, I understand. But like tonight, he got quite a bit of run. So I don't know.
Well, and here's my issue. Like they won the game 49-27 tonight, and he ran for 300 yards. Are sports fans really so miserable that we have to re-legislate the last 3 losses after this game? Is that what we have to do?
I'm never going to tell people how to fan, but I will tell you.
I am, though. Like, you don't have to, but I will. Like, that's an effing miserable way to live, man. Like, I get it. It sucks, but you can't change it.
I get it. I get it. And there's probably also a segment of Mizzou fans that are still pretty salty about how the last, I don't know, we'll call it 35 days or so went, right? Like they started 5-0. Things looked really well. They played competitively against a really good Alabama team. They went down to Auburn and won that game. Everything was in front of them. And then, you know, like the Vanderbilt game happened, a bye week, the A&M game happened, like the goals that they had for this season kind of came crashing down. And so, yeah, they're probably still a little bit stung, especially after they watch a night like tonight where Missouri takes care of business against an inferior opponent and Hardy shines the way he does. So in that sense, like I can sympathize with some of the fans that might be like, hey, like we needed more Hardy in the games that we lost. That's fine. It's just, you know, like it's hindsight's 20/20. And so like it's probably not fair to do that for yourselves or to yourselves. But at the same time, you know, hey, like that's, again, I'm not going to tell you guys how to fan, but I will tell you how I feel sometimes.
Well, it's not that it's not fair. It's that it just seems miserable to me. Like I say all the time, if this is not fun, why do you do it? Like if you don't get enjoyment out of this, why would you do it? That's my question. Like if we're sitting here 3 weeks later and bitching that Ahmad Hardy did not get the ball enough against Vanderbilt, like And I get it, man. There's still people on our board that haven't gotten over the 2013 SEC title game. So I understand it is a common thing. It should be enjoyable. And it doesn't seem enjoyable to a lot of people.
I think they'll look back in time and reflect on the high moments this season, right? Like where Hardy ran for, like the Louisiana game, the 138 against South Carolina, the 300 that he ran for tonight against Mississippi State. Like they're going to look back and be like, man, that was really cool. But like in the moment right now, like the rest of this season is going to carry some scars with them because of what possibly could have been, especially when he puts forth performances like he did tonight. Like that is, and I don't blame fans for being a little upset and stung by this because there's a pretty huge emotional and in some case financial commitment to following their favorite team. And when you have that type of commitment and they're not able to deliver on the goals that they are achieving for, it's going to hurt. And I don't blame them for hurting. Again, I'm not going to tell them how to fan, but sometimes they're going to carry that hurt with them for a little while until they're able to finally get over the thing. And who knows when they'll finally get over the thing. Like you mentioned, it's been 12 years since 2013, and some people still aren't over that all the way. And so, like I get it. Like I got it. We got into this business because we love sports and we love being fans that way. And when you spend that type of time and energy and your team doesn't come through and they come up short, especially when you look back and think, oh, what could have been, it's going to sting. And so I don't blame them for constantly bringing it up. It might get old for you and me, but like that's how they feel sometimes. And you just got to live with that.
It's impossible for me to figure out why people like you more than they like me. I don't, we need to do a deep dive on that sometime.
It's the mustache. It's only the mustache. There you
go. That's all it is. Trick Shot Marathon Freeway. Jared, thanks for the super chats. Ron Davis, Darius Smith was a dude tonight. He was, and like it's good for Darius because he's been really good all year, but it hasn't shown up in the stat sheet until the last couple weeks. I think his first sack was against Texas A&M. He got 2 more and another tackle for loss tonight. Like the guys on the team, the coaches that watch film know he's played well, but a lot of fans probably don't because it wasn't showing up in the stat sheet.
Yeah, and well, this was kind of a cool night, I think, for him because when Nate Johnson went out, my first thought was, oh, snap. Okay, so Kitchen's hurt. He's out. Now Johnson's gone down. Dayton Hopkins got a ton of run tonight as like that next defensive end up. So, okay, I think we saw Javian Hilson for a few snaps. But I also kind of thought, okay, Darius is more of that stand-up outside linebacker. Maybe they'll just kind of go small for a little bit and maybe get Smith on the field a little bit more. I don't know right offhand exactly how he is as a run defender, but like obviously I know he is very disruptive when it comes to passing downs. And so they're able to get him on the field a little bit more. And I thought he did a great job. And it helped that Missouri was able to build on its lead and that forced Mississippi State to throw the ball a little bit more. But, he ended up, 4 total tackles, had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, was very, very impactful, I thought, tonight in the snaps that he did get. I thought he played a heck of a game. And he was fun to watch at times, especially when when Mississippi State is forced to pass the ball, we saw that Blake Shapen's not exactly the best deliverer of the football, and Missouri's pass rush was able to get after them. Like I think somebody in the comments said that like when that poor offensive lineman for Mississippi State, when he wasn't false starting, Zion Young was eating his lunch tonight. And so like sometimes you need to get that extra step if you want to defend Zion Young the proper way. So like he had a good game. Darius Smith had a good game. Damon Wilson had a good, like I thought the defensive line had a good game. The defense overall, I thought was maybe a little bit leakier after Josiah Trotter went out after the targeting call. That's correlation, causation. I would hazard a guess that maybe not having the primary green dot on the field left the defense a little bit out of position at times. And that's fine. The veer and shoot's also kind of hard to defend when not everybody's in position. But also the defense for the first time in a month or so got some help from the offense, right? So maybe there wasn't as much pressure to play as perfect as maybe they needed to against A&M or against Vanderbilt or against Alabama. And so they could kind of, I don't want to say they could ease up because like when that defense is running on full tilt, they are incredibly fun to watch. But, it's one of those nights where, hey, like they may be let up a little bit, but they also had 2 pick sixes. So you live
right.
with
They made a couple really big plays.
Yes.
Brand Flake cereal. I object to being called the chief curmudgeon when I'm telling you it should be more fun than it seems. That's not curmudgeon like at all. But whatever. Let's go back to the voicemails.
Gabe, Cody, all I want to say is that I hope Ahmad Hardy gets the recognition he deserves. He's had a hell of a season, and no matter what the record is or what the score outcomes were against Alabama and Vanderbilt and Texas A&M, the guy has had a hell of a season, and no one deserves to be praised more than him right now.
And you know when Ahmad Hardy's going to be praised? Yo, let's talk about that NIL deal for next year, Coach. That's going to be a good – him and Donovan Olubade. Give me all the money.
You know, it's funny. When we were walking out of the press conference afterwards, when we got to talk to a number of these guys, we were walking, you know, where we have to kind of walk down on the concourse. And so we're walking by some of the concession stands, and somebody had made a comment, wow, hot chocolate costs $10. And my immediate reaction was, well, they got to find a way to pay Donovan somehow, right? They got to find a way to pay Damon Wilson somehow. They got to find a way to pay Ahmad Hardy somehow, right? So if that hot chocolate costs $15 next year, y'all are going to know why, because they're going to keep an All-American running back in the stable. And honestly, probably worth it, right? Like that's, you know, we can discuss, you know, how much it actually pays to go to a football game now in the year of our Lord 2025. It probably costs an arm and a leg, especially if you want to take a family. But at the same time, that money is going right back to the team that's showing up on the field. And if they're able to produce nights like tonight, that hot chocolate might be worth the $10 or $15 that it costs.
Yeah, no question. No question. Let's see what we got next.
Hey, Gabe Ramsey, 85K, Honda CRV, fully paid off. Actually, I have $25K in student loan debt. Thanks, Mizzou. So chipping away at that. Anyways, was wondering with Olubade and Hardy, any worry about, obviously, assuming Dream comes back, those guys staying with NIL packages, maybe from other teams trying to poach those guys? Please let me know. MIZ.
And look, I hate that this is the answer every time, but every player in the country is a free agent in a month. Like everyone. And Missouri does have some guys signed to multi-year deals. I hope for their sake that Ahmad Hardy is one of them. If Drink is back, I would think those guys would both be back. I don't know why they wouldn't. Ahmad Hardy is having a hell of a season. He's going to be an All-American. I don't know why he would want to go somewhere else. Donovan Olubade is at this point leading the receivers in snaps and targets the last couple weeks. I would think he would be relatively happy with his freshman year, has a pretty good chemistry with Matt Zellers, who I think is the quarterback going forward. Again, this is all making one giant assumption, you know, that the coach is back, but like that is one place where I really do feel for fans. Like it's hard to form an attachment to somebody when you don't really know if they're going to be here next year.
Yeah, and it's kind of been that way since the portal, the proliferation of the transfer portal, right? Because like it used to be, okay, like the school offered this guy and he just got done with his sophomore year of high school. And so then you follow him through his junior year and he has a breakout junior year and he goes to these camps and he climbs all these rankings and you guys are following him every single place he goes because Missouri offered him early and he's talking to coaches all the time. And the recruiting reporters are talking to him all the time. And he's saying these things about these coaches and the investments there. And, you know, before he even commits, right? But then he commits and that's your dude and that's your guy. And you live with that guy with the highs and the lows all the way through. And then he goes through his senior year and he sets all these records and he does all these things and he finally gets on campus and you feel like you know him already, but he hasn't even done anything for your team yet. And maybe he redshirts, so you forget about it for a year, but then he comes back because now he's a redshirt and he's on the starting team. And like, you just, you know, then you keep him for a few years, right? Because that's how college football used to be. You got to keep them for a few years. And if they transferred, they had to sit for a year. So then people would be forgetting about him again, or because like, you know, he would have to play 3 or 4 years so that he could leave as a grad transfer because maybe he wanted to go back home or whatever reason. And so, but like there would be that attachment and you don't get that now with that's enough caffeine. Thanks, Scott. You don't get that now because of the transfer portal, right? Like we see it all the time. And like, you know, true freshmen will show up at SEC programs, Big Ten programs, any program. And it's like, well, I'm good enough to play right away. If I'm not getting enough playing time or I'm not satisfied enough, I'm gonna hit the portal and go find somewhere else to play. Look at Kewan Lacey, right? Like prime example from last year. And now he's at Ole Miss becoming a superstar. That's just kind of the name of the game nowadays. And so I don't blame you guys for maybe not getting as attached to some of these guys because of how, you know, quickly they can just disappear and be gone and go play for somebody else. Like that's just kind of what it is. So that's, you know, that's tough being a college sports fan, not just even a college football fan, just a college sports fan in general, you know, in today's day and age.
The flip side of that is though, I don't think anybody cares that Ahmad Hardy wasn't here last year or won't be here for 4 years. Everybody loves him now. You're cheering for the name on the front of the jersey, to be honest. And I get the flashback to when there were we were talking a lot about Devin West tonight, who holds the single game rushing record. Man, I loved watching Devin in college. We were in school the same years, and I knew him a little bit. And, you got to watch this kid over 3 or 4 years go from kind of a nobody out of high school to a kid that got a little time and waited his turn, and then all of a sudden had this unbelievable senior year. And those stories don't really happen anymore. So I get missing that, but at this point, you're just cheering for whoever is here this year, and then next September we'll find out who's going to be here next year.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to
Gabe,
like. Well, I was going to say to tie a bow on that thought. It kind of goes back. Like, you ever see that meme where you got like two guys sitting on a train? One of them's kind of sad, looking at rocks, and the other one's happy, looking out at the field. And the thought bubble above the guy looking at rocks is like lives on the message boards, lives and dies with every transfer and every commitment. And then the other guy looking out at the happy fields is like stares at the roster for the first time in August, and just that's that's who you root for. Who's on my team this year? That guy. All right, we're gonna ride.
I
with
like
that
him. There you go.
Jay here. Hardy's just stupid good when he wants to be. I wonder how much of this game was Hardy being that good and fired up again versus a bad rush defense of Mississippi State. And I just wonder how stupid this game truly could have been had Missouri not just been brain dead and had so many stupid penalties at extended drives. But they got the win. They got the win big. Bring on Oklahoma.
At one point, Mississippi State had 10 first downs, and 6 of them were on Missouri penalties.
That's crazy.
That's tough to do, man. That is tough to. And like, we haven't even talked about the dumbest play of this game, which was Mississippi State snapping a ball off their holder's knee and Missouri returning it for 72 yards.
That's hilarious, right? And that was after the 3 penalties.
I had to see replays before I even understood what happened on that play.
Oh, same. And then the way we have it set up, shout out to Disney and YouTube TV for finally orchestrating their deal so that we could, because usually I have the game on YouTube TV.
No shout outs to anybody that's not a sponsor. Only shout outs to Yuengling tonight.
Shout out to Yuengling for I haven't even had a Yuengling yet. I don't drink during the season, so whatever. But no, so I have the game up on a slight delay so that when the play happens, then I can go to the screen and be like, okay, how exactly did that happen? And I was like, I watched that play and I'm just like, no shit, right? Because the snap off the knee, bounced off, and then Pride obviously scooped it, ran 62 yards the other way, and then Mizzou scored 5 plays later. That was nuts. That was absolutely crazy. And one of the pivotal moments in the game, right? Because Missouri ultimately turned it into a touchdown. And instead of what would have been 14-13 had they made the field goal, because that field goal only happened after Mizzou stood up twice on 3rd and goal against Mississippi State. So shout out to Missouri's defense there. And then after that, what could have been 14-13 was instead 21-10 Mizzou because Pride took it back. And then 5 plays later, Hardy scored his first of 3 touchdowns. So just amazing. That was, I don't know. That was a crazy play. There was a lot of crazy plays in this game.
No question. Somebody is asking if Ahmad Hardy can beat Devin West's single-season rushing. So the thing about Devin's single-season rushing record, it was 1,578 yards, but it was in 11 games because back then they did not count bowl game stats toward the season. So that was 1,578 in 11 games. Hardy is at 1,346 in 10. I mean, he would have to run for 243 against Oklahoma to break it in 11 games. That seems unlikely, but 243 in 2 games is possible because he could get 243 by halftime against Arkansas.
Probably, yeah. He's going to go from running against a wet paper bag in Mississippi State's run defense to running against a reinforced brick wall in Oklahoma's run defense. You're talking number 112 nationally in run defense against, I think Oklahoma at last check was number 2 nationally in run defense. So if he goes for 243 on Oklahoma, ooh, that's
Oklahoma entered today number 4 in run defense, giving up 82.4 yards per game. They've only given up 742 for the season. So 243 seems unlikely in one game.
Yeah.
Jimbo Slice, as a true freshman, had a better season for Mizzou than Alubade is having. Way back when, Justin Smith, I feel like, probably did defensively, but offensively, I mean, Luther Burton wasn't great as a true freshman. I can't remember a true freshman being Jeremy Macklin redshirted. Denario Alexander was pretty good as a true freshman I think, but it's been a while, man.
I'm trying to think of maybe one of those tight ends from the Pinkel years. Like, did they have kind of not like a eye-popping, not like an eye-popping freshman year, but like this dude's got a little something. He's going to turn into a rock star type freshman year.
I'm going to look up Chase Kaufman's college stats because I am pretty confident that Chase Kaufman did not redshirt. His freshman year, he had 47 catches for 503 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that was really as the number 2 tight end behind Martin Rucker. So, yeah, that's probably the best one. I would think would be Chase Kaufman. All right, let's hammer out a few more voicemails before we got to work.
It's Drew in St. Louis. I watched a lot of shitty St. Louis Rams games back in the day, and they used to just run Steven Jackson until his legs fell off, and I kind of feel like that should have been the Mizzou game plan basically this entire season, and you never know what would have happened. I don't know. Maybe it's just a confusing time right now. I don't know. Maybe take your shirt off. All right, MIZ.
I mean, here's the thing. I think, it is worth noting the difference in Hardy's production against good teams versus not as good teams. Here's why I get frustrated by the play calling thing. I don't think the solution against Alabama and Vandy and Auburn was just, if we just hand it off to them all the time, it's going to, I don't think that would have worked. If they knew you were running the ball, I think the problem in those games was that they had nothing else that worked. There was nothing to take any pressure off of Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts in those games.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, hindsight's always 20/20. I think a lot of people will always go back to the Vanderbilt game, right, where they had second and goal from the 2. They had 3 plays from the 2, goal to go.
Understand it.
And Hardy didn't touch the ball, I don't think, on any of those, or maybe he did once.
He did on second down, and the reason they didn't score on second down was because 2 of the 3 guys blocking on that play blocked no one.
Yeah, right. And
so it wasn't a bad play call; they just didn't block.
The next play call might have been questionable, but again, you and I have been over this. All 3 of those plays, Mizzou did not execute properly in the way they needed to give themselves an honest shot at executing on those plays and potentially winning that game. So, hindsight's always 20/20. So it's really, again, I'm not going to tell you guys how to fan, but how I feel about that situation, it's really hard for me to sit here and look back at those and just, but I understand why you carry that pain with you.
And it is the Vandy game that had Missouri won that game, they are going to Norman, Oklahoma next week, basically with a playoff bid on the line. So I do understand why that game sticks in your craw. I completely understand it. And I don't mean to pretend that I don't. I just I'm not interested in going back and relitigating the call on 3rd and 2 from the 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line, which, yes, I think sucked. And I think we all agree it sucked, but we can't do anything about it now.
Gabe. How about them Tigers? Take that shirt off, boy.
Seems like you got to be a little more creative than that.
I don't know.
Gabe,
these people just want to.
Oakville. Great win for the Tigers. Very cathartic after losing to Vanderbilt, after getting thumped by Texas A&M. Seeing Hardy run like we knew he could all year long, it kind of makes you think hey, man, could we have done this all year long? But today is really a day for celebration because I took my mom to her very first Mizzou game today.
M-I-Z.
Z-O-U. There's no better way to celebrate this win and her first Power Mizzou postgame voicemail than for you to take your shirt off. All right, goodbye.
No, there's a way better way. Trust me. I don't know what it is, but all ways are better.
Love to see it. Love Ahmad Hardy. I firmly believe he's the best running back in college football. Begs the question, is Mizzou running back university with Cody Schrader, Quan Lacey, Ahmad Hardy now? We turn out Great running backs. Also, now we play the dangerous game of trying not to convince ourselves all week that just because we did this to Mississippi State that we have any kind of chance against Oklahoma. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but good win.
Here's the issue I have with that. You cannot claim both Kejuan Lacey and Ahmad Hardy. You only get to claim one of them.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
I will say what ESPN did their U series for quite a few years starting. I think it spawned out of COVID in 2020 where they would, which school is QBU, RBU, wide receiver U. And the last that I did a quick Google search, and the last thing that was posted was in 2023. So take that for what it's worth. It may not take into account everything that Mizzou has done since then. But RBU is technically Alabama. And there's a lot of you people that are going to roll your eyes because obviously I used to cover Alabama. However, some of the running backs that Alabama has taken and eventually put into the NFL, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris, Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, TJ Yeldon, Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram. I love what Mizzou has been able to do with a lot of the running backs over the last few years with, Schrader and Beatty and now Ahmad Hardy, and even Jamal Roberts has had a lot of success this year. And you can see the future a little bit with Marquise Davis and Brendan Haygood, assuming that those guys stick around, which is not something that you should assume given today's nature of college football. But kind of hard to argue with that track record. I know that there's been a lot of really good running backs that have also come out of Georgia. Like that's just, I don't know if Mizzou earns RBU, but I do think they deserve some credit for what they've been able to do in more recent years with a lot of their running backs and just how vital those guys have been to what Mizzou has been doing offensively. Like, especially with Mizzou back-to-back 10-win seasons, how they've had different running backs each of those 2 seasons. And now they are doing it again. 10 wins is still on the table, even though they, a tough game in Oklahoma next week. Like the fact that they've been able to do this with kind of a rotating cast of running backs each of the last few years, that's been really impressive. And while Missouri might not be RBU, should not be discounted. And I think Drink and company, and again, going back to Curtis Looper, when we were talking about earlier, which position coach would you elevate or would you want to keep? He's done a heck of a job with that room over the last few years.
Yeah, I would go Georgia as modern day running back U. Those of us who are a little older, that's kind of what USC always was known as, tailback U. Now there's a conversation whether potential double murderers need to be included in that conversation or not, and whether that changes the status of running back, tailback U or not, but whatever. All right. So Cody, let's do one more voicemail with you. Then we'll get your closing thoughts and let you get out and write, and I'll finish up.
Hey Gabe, hell of a game from Ahmad Hardy. Just got me thinking back to that Alabama game where he had 12 carries. Just imagine.
This is my problem, man. It's just everyone. It's just everyone. I don't know. Cody, what are you going to write? What kind of final thoughts for the folks?
No, I think we got just kind of give you guys a preview. We obviously talked to Ahmad Hardy and just kind of about his motivations for this game, right? And one of those he was very upfront about. He's a Mississippi kid. He was not recruited by Ole Miss or Mississippi State coming out of high school. So for him to be able to pile up 300 yards on those guys, he was pretty proud of that performance tonight. So we got to talk to him. I'll write something up that breaks down that. But then also, in a little bit of a surprise, we got to talk to Matt Zellers tonight for the first time. And so not only did we ask him a little bit about tonight's game, but we also got the chance to ask him some bigger picture questions. Just what's the last month or so been like? What's the season been like? How have things changed over the last few weeks? What's that growth process been like? So I'll be sure to break down that interview with him as well. So we'll have a few stories on some of those standout performances just from tonight's game and just kind of what we've seen the last few weeks. So we got that. And then I've also got, the typical report card and some other stuff that we've got coming tomorrow morning.
I mean, it's only 12:30, so it's plenty of time still to.
Apparently my caffeine dealer is making a lot of the people in the comments jealous. So I may just go ahead and stay up until the polls come out, and I'll just keep a good thing going,
Yeah, I'm hoping to get home at some point, but we'll see. I'm going to hang out with the people. Cody, go right. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, guys, enjoy the win. This was great. This was fun. It was cool to watch Mizzou finally get back into a rhythm. It's been 28 days since Mizzou has won a football game. So you guys should actually sit in this and enjoy it and appreciate it. And also, like, it was Matt Zoller's first win. The seniors got a win. We got to see them carry the White Rocks off the field. Their teammates got to carry them off. Ahmad Hardy did the thing that he did. The defense did well. Like, sit back and enjoy this. It's been a while since you've got to feel a feeling like this. So appreciate it, enjoy it, and, enjoy the night, however late your guys' night lasts. Hopefully we can all go to bed at a reasonable time tonight, because next week is going to be a blast.
If you need something to drink, there's Coke in the visiting AD box here. Plenty of caffeine if you need a boost.
I got Gatorade in my box, so I'm going to tap into that real quick before I sit down and start.
No caffeine, but all right. Good deal, man. Appreciate you.
See ya.
All right. That is Cody Goodwin. He's off to right. I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit longer because we've still got 575 people on here. We've got super chats. We've got voicemails. Let's go ahead and get to it. I don't know. I'll go. We sleep in May. Will Johnston, special teams didn't really hurt us tonight besides the missed field goal. When will they help us? No, it's a fair question. Special teams has been not good, and not just this year, for a long time. I don't really blame Oliver Robbins for a missed 54-yard field goal, which, by the way, had plenty of distance, hit like 2/3 of the way up on the goalpost. So, like, he could have gotten it there from 60. Frankly, looks like he probably should have been the kicker all year. And I'm not going to blame a kid for missing a 54-yarder. So, yeah, special teams net neutral tonight, which is, at this point, the best you can hope for. I mean, I know you want to get to a point where it's a net positive, but right now, where Missouri's been, net neutral is a win. Kyler says, why didn't we do this all year? If we could have, we would have. It's a tired argument, extremely oversimplified. That's what I think. It is very oversimplified. I am not saying it is without merit. There are times you would have liked Ahmad Hardy to get the ball more, but also, again, Jamal Roberts has run well. I don't think, again, play calling has been a component. The idea that we're a playoff team if he just gives Ahmad Hardy the ball more, I agree with Kyler. I just think it's oversimplified, and it has been said so many times. That is my frustration with it. It's been most of the voicemails tonight, and that's where my frustration lies with it, and that's really it. But let's go back to the voicemail line and see if the next caller wants Ahmad Hardy to get the ball more.
Gabe, Mizzou is 7-3 in a down season with their third-string true freshman quarterback. I know this is a little disappointing that they are not going to the playoff, but I think it's whatever at this point.
Look, I agree. They just won an SEC football game with a third-string quarterback and a third-string kicker, and 2 guys kicked out of the game for targeting. That's not nothing, guys. If this is your down year, let's say the rest of the year plays out the way I think it's going to, which is you go to Oklahoma and you have a really hard time scoring and you probably get beat. And then you go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and their defense is awful, and Ahmad Hardy gets 250 more, and you win that game, and you finish the regular season 8-4, and you go off to a bowl game somewhere in Florida, and whatever happens. And if you win that bowl game, you finish in the top 25 for a third year in a row. That has never happened in the history of Missouri football. If this is the bad times, it's really good. And I know you want the next step, and you're not wrong for wanting it. I completely understand why. But also take a minute to realize that this is, I'm not going to say it's as good as it's ever been, because the highs haven't quite been as high. They didn't play for a conference championship. That has as much to do, I think, with the rest of the league as it does with Missouri itself. But whatever, they made the playoff the year before there was a playoff. So I understand the frustrations for coming up one game short, really now probably 3 years in a row, but also it's been good. A couple days ago, I was talking to my wife, who frankly doesn't really care much about Missouri football, knows a little bit because obviously she does, but it just isn't invested in anything like that. And she was saying, well, is it a big deal if Drinkwitz leaves? And I said, yeah, it kind of is, because he's done as good a job here as anybody's done in my lifetime. If he's behind what Gary Pinkel's done, it's only a step, and it's due a lot to longevity. He just hadn't been here as long. So like it's been pretty good. That's my point. Can you hope for better? Absolutely. Can you expect better? I don't know. That's a different conversation in a different show.
Colonel, where'd you go? You're up for a second and you froze. Colonel, I'm right here. Colonel.
I like that one. I don't know who it was, but
Gabe, this is Phil from Phil's house. Quick shout out to Kevin and Brad in the RV. Man, these are the games that make me proud to be a Tiger. Could have easily packed it in this year. Said we're done, we're good. But the team just fights. Have a strong victory here over a team they should beat. Defense finally comes up with 2 pick sixes. Just love it, man. I'm so proud to be a Tiger. Love what you're doing, Gabe. MIZ.
I feel like it would be a little bit weird if Phil was calling not from Phil's house. I don't know. Just me.
Hey, Gabe, it's old Jay here. Hardy's.
No, I think I double loaded a few of these voicemails, so we'll see. We got to go.
Gabe.
Yeah, I think what I did is downloaded quite a few of these twice because Billy was having some technical issues, and I think I put some extra ones in. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump back to the chat because I know a lot of you guys have been here for a long time. And comment of the night from Dan Schwieger. I bet your wife would have given the ball to Hardy more against Vandy. Well done, Dan. I respect it, man. Jeff Lever, how good is Dre Norwood? Teams don't target him. NFL. Cornerback is so hard for me to assess because, like, I don't spend a ton of time watching it because, you know, there's like I follow the ball during the games usually. And so it's hard for me to break down cornerback play right after a game, but they don't throw at Dre a lot. So that's good. I feel like the knock on him in the NFL will be his size. He's not big. Could he play in the NFL? I feel like maybe, but I don't think he's a day 1 or 2 pick. Like I feel like he kind of have to work his way in, probably start on some special teams and then see. But that's just a guess. I don't know. I haven't looked at any mock drafts, things like that yet. Scott Fitz, the play calling is worth discussing. They ran the Vandy play again tonight. Play action rollout, tight end on the short side of the field. Again, I agree it is worth discussing as a part of the problem. My issue with it is that for so many people, it has become the entire discussion. And I just do not think that is accurate. It is never one thing. I've said this so many times. You want it to be one thing because if it's just the play calling, you can say, get rid of Kirby Moore and it's good. We're fixed. But it's not just the play calling. The line's been shaky. The quarterback play hasn't been great. I'll be honest. I'm not sure the receiving core is great. Marquise Johnson has basically disappeared at this point. So yes, the play calling is worth discussing. The other things are also worth discussing. And that is, when 85% of the people are hammering play calling Kirby Moore, it makes me more want to focus on the other 15% because I do not think it is as simple as just call better plays. And this team is 9-1. Or whatever the number may be. I think that's probably a part of it. And as Eli Drinkwood said last week, he's never coached a football game where the staff didn't come in and say, I wish we would have done this different or handled this better. You're not throwing perfect games. You need to throw better games. And every person, like Drinkwitz has said, hey, we all want that next level. He has not shied away from that. And, he and they are, I was going to say more disappointed than you guys, but I'm frankly not sure that's true. And I don't say that as a joke. Like, I think fans a lot of times take these things harder than the players and coaches do. I know they linger on them longer because the players and coaches can't linger on them. If the players and coaches lingered on it like we are lingering on it, they would have gotten their asses beat against Mississippi State tonight because they would have spent no time getting ready for Mississippi State. So I don't know if they take it harder, but I promise they wanted to get there and they didn't. And, again, we get way too tunnel vision and way too one note in our criticism. And so that's where I kind of tried to point out the other things. From what I've seen, Zellers' ability to find open receivers has been good. He just doesn't always have the touch to make the accurate throw. Yeah, he's not there yet. I mean, he said tonight, he said, look, when you come in as the third string quarterback, you don't really expect to play. And so there has been, I mean, he got thrown in there out of nowhere in a really weird position. And the first one went pretty well against Vandy. Second one went terribly against A&M. Tonight was not great, not perfect by any means, but it was better than last week, and I think that matters. I demand a shot from Gabe every time we hear either Gabe, or when someone has to take his shirt off. Cold Coy, the last time I had a shot was like 16 years ago. I don't do shots. So no dice on that. Why would you target him when you can target Hall? That's talking about Dre Norwood. Yeah, that's fair. One guy I do think deserves a shout out, though, is Toriano Pride. And I don't think he's elite. I don't know if he's quite what he was supposed to be coming out of high school, but I think he has played better. I think he's improved. And like Drinkwood said tonight, how about that for your senior night? Like a 62-yard return on a botched field goal, an 18-yard return for a pick six. That's one Toriano is going to remember for quite a while, for sure. Thomas with the super chat. Appreciate you. My biggest worry going into the game was team buy-in after this college football playoff was shot. Every player looked excited and ready to fight. Speaks to the culture. And I agree with that. And I don't think that doesn't erase the frustration of not getting the playoff and all that. But I think you find out more about a team and more about a coach on a night like tonight where, let's be honest, man, there's not a lot to play for. Like I told people during the day, this is the least excited I've been to cover a game since Drink's been here because it's kind of a bad opponent. You're not really playing for a lot. And the big story is completely unrelated to what the results of these next three games are. And so I felt that way. I think a lot of fans felt that way. It would have been real easy for the team to feel that way. And it seemed pretty obvious pretty early that wasn't an issue. Motivation wasn't an issue. Focus wasn't an issue. Give a damn wasn't an issue. Right now, there were some execution issues. There were some dumb penalties. Maybe they were actually too high. But he got these guys ready to play this game. And this is not a game where there was a whole lot at stake. And I know some fans get mad at me saying that because some fans think the difference between 9-7 is big or 8-6 is big. The difference between the Gator Bowl and the Birmingham Bowl is big. And so I get it. You want to win as many games as you can. And I understand that. But big picture, when you look at it, if Missouri loses this game, is there a lot of things that's tangibly different? I don't know. Not really. But he got them ready to play this game. And that counts for something. How much it counts for probably depends on your opinion. But I do think it counts for something. I don't even care if we play in an SEC championship. I just want a playoff appearance. It's harder to make the SEC title game than it is the playoff, guys. Like Texas A&M is already in the playoff. If they lose to Texas, they probably will not make the SEC title game. Let's see. Somebody's asking, go back to the voicemails. We've used them all, guys. So if you're only here for the voicemails, you're going to be done. Winner of this game gets David Stone for his junior year. I couldn't tell you. I feel like David Stone is playing for Oklahoma. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Pride is frustrating, but also fun. Best game since coming here. Agree with that. They took senior night seriously. Does Drink potentially going back to Perbula next week impact your thoughts on Zellers being QB1? I don't know what he's going to do. I am very interested to see how they handle it. I mean, Matt obviously hasn't been great. He's not quite ready. I don't know if I'll say I have a hard time seeing them both back next year, but my assumption when Bo Perbula went down at Vandy was he's played his last game here because he looked badly hurt. I thought for sure his season was over. And I said, Matt Zoller is going to come in and he's going to play and it's clearly going to be his job and Bo's going to hit the port. And that still may happen. I'm interested to see how Drink handles it. I don't know who starts next week because from what I heard, Bo could have played tonight. Now, would he have been 100%? Would he have been the right guy? I don't know. But he could have played. And so with another week, I would assume he'll be okay. He can play against OU if they want him to play. I don't know if that's the defense you want to throw him out there against, but I also don't know if that's the defense you want to throw Matt Zellers out there against. And as I said, Drink didn't want to talk about it tonight. He said we'll deal with that next week. So we'll talk to him on Tuesday and see where Bo's at and what the plan is. And obviously we'll have stories on that and we'll discuss it. But yeah, I don't know how he's going to handle it. And so what happens in these next two games, I think very much does impact next year. Like if Bo comes back and plays well, Bo's back and Matt still has a redshirt year, and maybe he's okay with that. And maybe you do keep them both. If Bo's healthy and Matt starts, I think you assume Bo's leaving. Maybe that's not fair, but like in today's college football, that is what I would assume. And look, if Drink's not here, all bets are off on all of them, right? So we'll see where it goes. I don't really know. This team's going to fight in Norman. Take your shot, right? Nobody's going to pick you to win. I'm sure Missouri fans would love nothing more than your first win in 59 years ruining Oklahoma's season. That would be solid. It would be definitely salvaging something if you could knock OU out of the playoff. Everybody's asking about the voicemails. Guys, we've gone through them. We had about 20. We played them. Billy had some technical issues. I had a few technical issues. We didn't start till, 11:30 or something like that. We have played all the voicemails. If you were here just for the voicemails, frankly, they were fairly normal and not obscene tonight. I know that disappoints some of you listening. It's probably better for me and our ability to stay on YouTube. Give me the percentage chance you think Bo starts another game. Just in case one of our favorite message board posters is listening, I'm going to say it's 50-50. Either he does or he doesn't. But truly, I have no idea. I really don't know what to expect because Drink didn't want to talk about it tonight. OU's tough, but I think gettable. Yeah, maybe. I think Missouri's going to have a tough time scoring in that game. I think the defense might need to score again, but, we'll get there. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out here with us tonight. Apologize for the technical issues in the beginning. Internet here has been a little bit weird all night. It's kind of kicked me on and off a couple times. So appreciate you sticking with us through that. And again, 600 people online well after midnight on Saturday for this game is awesome. We really do. Hey, we might disagree. I might yell at you a couple times. You might call me names, but we really do appreciate the passion that you guys have and that you spend, Saturday nights here. I mean, every time I'm walking into a game or walking through the stands, somebody says, hey, when's the post-game show, all that. So this is the most fun thing we do, and I'm glad you guys all like it. It's the last one, obviously, from Faurot this year. Cody will be in Norman next week. He will be in Fayetteville in 2 weeks. We will be doing the post-game shows after both of those and after a bowl game. And we don't know what's to come the rest of this year, guys. We'll get into it. Whatever happens, we'll be ready for all of it. But we really don't know. And it's going to be an interesting and stressful couple of weeks. And I think on the live show on State of the Tigers in the middle of the week, I think Cody and I will get more into that. Because it's getting to be that time. I mean, Missouri's last in exactly 14 days, Missouri's football season, regular season is over. And we're going to be at the point where decisions will come on. Maybe we'll know before then. It's not my anticipation we will, but maybe. But we'll see where it goes. I'm glad that tonight was about the game, and that's what we talked about and all that, because we're going to have plenty of time to break down all the other stuff. But appreciate you being here. While you are here still, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things on the channel. I'm going to put up post-game video afterwards. Cody's writing a couple stories. I'll put this out on the podcast. And want to remind you, as we have been all year long and will be for the last 3 games as well, brought to you by Yuengling America's oldest brewery, and my personal recommendation for your early Sunday morning adult beverage indulgence. Make sure to grab one. It is available in 29 states. Hopefully you have it. I don't know what time gas stations and liquor stores close where you are. It's only 12:51. Maybe you could go get some if you don't have some. It seems a little late to start. Hope you already had one. Hope you drank one with us. Stay up. Follow the post-game coverage. Pop one more. Thanks to Yuengling. Thanks to you guys. We'll talk to you next time.